start our maths today, we're going to find a percentage of an amount. So we're going to really build on what we did yesterday, use everything that we learned yesterday, practice it, develop it, so we get really confident on percentages. So, can anybody remember any of our top tips from the end of yesterday's lesson? What did we discover? What did we think we would recommend to somebody who was doing this for the first time?
That there are some percentages and fractions that you should know, like a half, which is 50%, and 0.5, a quarter,
Good.
25%.
So we know that 50% is a half. Good, well done. And
A quarter is
Quarter.
25%,
Yeah.
which is
good. So some of them you just know, don't you?
If you're trying to find 5% but it's hard, you can use what you know, like 10%, then divide it by 2.
Excellent, and we're going to come back to that in a few minutes. Well done, well remembered. Yes, so if you're doing 10%, you can find 10%, and then if you want 5%, you just halve it. Good, okay.
75% is 3 quarters.
75% is 3 quarters, good. How do we find 10%? What do we divide it by? 10. And how do we find 1%? What do we divide it by? 100. Good. Okay, so we know a lot already about percentages. And that useful information will help us a considerable amount. So, I'm going to start by looking at 25% just briefly. And I want you on your whiteboards to find for me, and do it at home as well, on a bit of paper or on your whiteboard, whatever you've got to hand, I want you to find 25% of 80. And when you've done that, can you find any different ways of finding 25% of 80? Find the way that springs to mind first, and then see if there are any other ways of doing it. It's a bit like number talk today. How many ways can you find of finding 25% of 80? That's good, but it doesn't show me which method you used. You've obviously understood it very clearly, but just show me which method you used. Check your, no, don't rush out, so I want to see it, but just check the last bit. Right, good. Can you find any other methods? Good, well done. Good, I like that. Right, okay. Just hold up your boards and show me what you've got so far. I know you haven't had long, but show me what you've got so far. Good. Right, well done. So, let's have a look at the different methods. So, I'm going to start off with the method from over here. And we had 80 divided by 4. Because we're finding 25%, we're finding a quarter. Okay? So, we had a really clear one over there where it was divided by 4, which is 20. So you're finding a quarter, you're dividing it by 4. Good. Then over here, we had another one where someone found 50% of 80. And we all know that 50% is a half. So that's 40. But of course, we don't need 50%, we need 25%, which is half again, which is 20. Good. Okay, so we found a quarter, we found 50% and then 25%. You could also, didn't notice anybody do this one, but you could have found 10%, divide 80 by 10, which is
8.
8. And then from that you can find 20%, which will be
16.
16, so it's twice as much. And then you can find 5%, which is of course half the 10%, which is 4. So we've got 20 and 5 make 25, 16 and 4 make 20. Okay. Out of those 3, which one do you think is the most efficient? Which one suits your maths brain best?
The 80 divided by 4.
80 divided by 4. Put up your hand if you agree. Did anybody find that method better? Yeah, 1 or 2, that's good, well done. Did anybody find that method helped? No, that's quite a long way round, isn't it? It's okay, we got to the right answer, we got there, and it's an acceptable method, but it is quite a long way round. If there's a quicker way and a more efficient way, it's better to use that. Okay, good, well done. Right, can you remind me how we find 10% of something?
You divide by 10.
Good. Can you remind me how we find 1% of something?
You divide it by 100.
Divide by 100. Good. So, the 1% is very useful. It doesn't sound it because you think, oh, that's such a tiny amount, but actually it is quite useful. So if I said to you, can you find me 16% of 300? Now this isn't the only way to do it, but you could say to yourself, I don't know what 16% of 300 is, but I know what 1% is, because if I divide it by 100, 1% would be 3. So if 1% is 3, we want 16%. So that's 16 lots of 3. Which of course is
48.
48. And of course that will work for any amount. If you find 1% first, and then you think, I want 27%, or I want 18%, or I want 9%, you can use that by multiplying it by however many you need. And that is quite a useful method. Sometimes it's not necessarily the biggest one, but it is quite a useful one, especially for odd amounts like that. Okay? So that's one to consider. Okay. So, we are all going to have a go at using what we know, just like we did yesterday, and we're going to think about if we need to find 20% of something, how would we do that? What do we know? What can we use that we know already?
25%. And take it.
Well, not if we're finding 20%. I wouldn't go to 25%. I think that's going to confuse things.
You could use 10%.
Good. You could find 10% and then double it. Yeah? What about if I asked you to find 40% of something? How would you do that?
Well, no, no, to find 20%, you could then double 20%.
Yeah. So find 10%, find 20%, and then double it to find 40%. Does everybody understand that? Right, okay. So just have a look at the board. I'll put the next slide up. So, if you know how to find 10% of 220, how could you use this to find 20%? Well, we've just done that. We talked about it. 10% divided by 10 is
22.
22. So 20% is going to be twice as much, which will be
44.
right. So I want you to use that idea, use what you know, and I want everybody here and at home to have a go at those 3 questions, and then we will go over them together. Okay?